Hello, everybody. It's 11:30 a.m. Central Time on the 29th of July, 2026. Hope you're doing well. It's Wednesday here in the States. I do have some semi-breaking news for everybody. It actually hit yesterday. I know a lot of people have been paying attention online, so you probably already know the news. 7.0 earthquake struck over in Japan yesterday, causing major damage, fatalities, injuries, explosions. It was really bad. And longtime viewers know that I issued a warning a week ago for this location in South Japan to be on watch down here from Okinawa as far north as Kyushu and as far south as Taiwan for up to 6.9. And this is the first earthquake this size for this location in South Japan in years. So it's a big earthquake. It's definitely the earthquake we were looking for last week. And when the earthquake did not hit last week, I thought maybe I missed it. Well, here we are several days later, and the earthquake has struck. Now, this earthquake is the halfway point between the previous earthquakes that were from this earlier this week. You can see them raised high off the planet here, these deeper earthquakes. And the halfway point has struck in between them with the new, shallower, larger earthquake. So that's pretty interesting to see. And it's unfortunately devastating for Japan. It's pretty rare for Japan to get devastating earthquakes. Normally, it's off the coast, or if it does strike on land, we're not talking about major devastation. In this case, this reminds me of the Kyushu earthquake from several years ago, where Kyushu actually had a surface fissure fracture that formed, a break in the ground that actually happened. So as we're going through here, you may be seeing this on the screen. Take a look at the screen right now. We've added the moon into the view here, which I can turn on and off at a whim if I want. It also rotates on its own, so when I leave the Earth still, the Earth is then rotated by the moon, but otherwise we can turn it on and off. We're looking at the phase of the moon. It's in full moon status pretty much right now. This will change coloring or lighting depending on the actual phase of the moon and the distance, so that we can see when it's at its furthest and when it's at its closest distance. This was a feature that used to be on the old earthquake program I used, but it was just numbers down at the bottom of the screen. It would show you the phase of the moon and the distance. So this matters for earthquakes. We do pay attention, but we've never had anything this cool. It's just amazing to have it on there. It doesn't really get in the way. I can zoom right through it and show you the earthquakes like normal. So that's pretty interesting. Isn't that cool to see? So big earthquake in Japan. I'm not going to show you the videos. A lot of them now are copyrighted, believe it or not. The day after an earthquake, most of the large earthquake videos are copyrighted, either by agencies or people who are looking to make money off of the disaster. So this is Uto, Japan. Now, this is east of Nagasaki. If you're not familiar with these areas in Japan, let's go get a display capture turned on so that you can see what I see ever so slightly better as we look these up. We'll go over onto Google Earth, for instance, and take a quick look on Google Earth. But there's the information from the USGS, and coordinates, of course, are important, so we'll get those and put them in and go see where it is. I already looked this up yesterday, but we want to see it again for the new viewers and for longtime viewers who just didn't know. So the reason there was so much damage, obviously it's on land, and it's below a set of high voltage power lines. Now in Japan, that's pretty easy to find. There's a lot of high voltage power lines all over the place, but this is again right along a set of high voltage power lines in Japan. I don't know where they go. We would have to trace the power lines back to their power station, wherever that is. It looks like a solar farm right here where it's coming from, actually. So the power station may be coming just from right there. I don't know. But it does matter. We pay attention to the power lines, power stations nearby an area if there's a large earthquake there nearby. Now, also, the volcanoes. Aso-san, you may remember Aso-san blew several years ago. There were hikers on the mountain. Pyroclastic flow came down Mount Aso. It was a very impressive video. People got injured in that, unfortunately. Now, this is the island of Kyushu, and it broke in half, or well, at least a large surface fissure fracture formed when a 7.8 earthquake struck here several years ago, and it caused similar type damage. Now, I wonder if this earthquake was larger. Of course, the USGS brought it down to 6.8, but originally it was in at a 7.1. So these kind of earthquakes strike in Japan usually to the north. Normally to the south, we're talking about 6s and lower. I have to take everybody back about 2 weeks now. So we go back about 2 weeks' time, and when I issued the warning for this 6.9 earthquake to strike between Taiwan and South Japan, that was based upon the previous earthquakes and the halfway points across a vast distance. So we had a huge earthquake all the way up here in North Japan, and we had a huge earthquake all the way down here at South Philippines. And South Japan was the halfway point between up here and down here. And that's how I came to my determination 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, for the 6.9 at South Japan. It's the first one in years, so there it is. Check it off the list. But I'm not bragging. I just have to let you know that the warning was issued for that. Now, there's other things going on. For instance, 4.3 and 4.4 earthquakes striking on the west coast of the United States and Canada. Last week, we had warned for a 5.9 to strike Hecate Strait, northwest of Vancouver Island, and a 5.9 hit 3 days after we issued the warning. So most of the earthquakes are not taking the 2 weeks to hit. They're taking 3 days to hit. But 2 more earthquakes there, then plus a 4.2 earthquake struck up here in Alberta, Canada, next to the pumping operations. The USGS chose to ignore the earthquake. We had to find out from the Geophon Potsdam out of Germany and Europe to even find out about it. Meanwhile, the USGS did show us a 1.0 earthquake in Canada, but didn't show us the 4. Well, guess what happened? After the 4.2 to 4.4 earthquake struck up here at Alberta, then we saw a 3.8 down here in New Mexico. And let's go look it up at Segundo, Colorado. But why are they saying it's in Colorado if it's really in New Mexico? It's triangulated from the nearest town, you might think, right? Well, unfortunately, that's not the reason either. So they'll do this when you get a significant earthquake in one state. They'll list it out of the other states so the one state doesn't catch hell because of all the pumping operations that are here. This is oil and gas. So we're talking about mainly oil. So we have tanks, pumps, jacks, and pipelines that connect between pads where they have all these oil wells. And this is down in New Mexico again. Look how far down in New Mexico we are. I mean, we're many miles inside of the border of New Mexico, and we have closer towns to triangulate from. I mean, you can see them here on the map. But anyway, they chose to triangulate it out of Segundo, Colorado up here. Well, this is Colorado. This is the state line right here. New Mexico, all drilled. Colorado, all drilled. Oil and gas. Just rando zooming in on one of these just to give you an example of the one in Colorado. So it's a large pumping operation that got hit. And that matters because of the other pumping operation that got hit up to the north that the USGS chose to ignore on purpose. Now, in between the two, there's a 3.3 and a 3.4. Also 3.3 and 3.5 to the south. If we look all these up, let's do that. 3.3, Little America, Wyoming. It's another set of drill points up in Wyoming now. So all the drill points are getting hit from Alberta all the way down to Texas, USGS ignoring the one on purpose, leaving all their people out. Imagine you're a researcher or some professional, and you don't even know that a 4.2 earthquake struck the pumping operations up north. So then when the pumping operations down south get hit, you're an ignoramus, and then I come along and tell you about it, and you freak out on me if you're a professional because you didn't know. And you think that, you think you know it all? Your fellow professionals are lying to you to keep you in the dark. Seriously, they're deliberately ignoring the earthquakes in spots so other researchers at the USGS and other professors don't find this stuff. Isn't that scandalous? I'll testify under oath if you need me to, for real. Okay, so let's go back again. Pumping operation in Little America, Wyoming. Pumping operation up at Alberta. Pumping operations down to the south, down where the other threes are. I already showed you the 3.8 in New Mexico, but let's go look at the other threes. And at this point, let me turn down the hexagon size a little bit on here so we can see a little bit better. So which ones do we want to go look up first? The threes in Texas or the threes over to the west? We already looked the heck out of New Mexico. Let's go over to Texas and take a quick look at the 3.5 in Goldsmith, Texas. They might be Smith and Gold, but they're doing it out of, let's just call it black gold. Black gold. Let's go down to Texas and get a sip of my coffee while we're flying down there. So when we talk about drilling in Texas, most people don't realize how much drilling there is. Like, we all know Texas has a bunch of drill points, but do you see all of these little pads on the ground, all these little specks? Every one of these dots is a different drill point for oil and gas. Do you see how many there are just right here in this one Texas county? So there's Odessa, Texas. Here's the earthquake epicenter, and we're zooming in, and here's our nearest wells. Right there, right, literally. And they lay out the pipeline at the surface, in case you didn't know. It's not that scandalous. It's actually good, because if you bury the pipeline and it ruptures, they won't know. They won't know where it is. It'll be underground. You have to wait till it comes up above ground level to see it. Meanwhile, the pipeline's at the surface. You can see immediately, cover it up, dig out the dirt, that kind of stuff. Anyway, major drilling going on. All of this is drilled. Look how many there are. Millions. There's millions. Quite literally millions. This is just one Texas county, and we go all the way across the state. It's like that. But right here is where it starts. Notice, once we go west of here, we go up into New Mexico. Look at all of them. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. All of these are drill points. Mega overdrive. Look at that. All right, so you get the picture. That's where the other earthquakes are striking. I think I'm kind of proving my case. The drill points are being hit all the way from up north to all the way down south along the edge of the craton. The USGS omitting the incoming blast is left all their researchers in the dark, not knowing where the blast is coming from, not knowing where the wave is coming from. So when you see activity up here, my viewers know we watch down the craton edge for an increase in activity. And that's exactly what just happened. How about, speaking of increase in activity, coming down the edge of the craton, 5.0 earthquake striking in Texas this week. Record-breaking earthquake at the pumping operations right in the middle of this whole hot mess. Is it even still on the feed? Let's go find out. It might already be off the feed for the week. Let's see. No, it's still there. There's our 5 in Texas at the pumping operations in North Texas. Well, imagine my shock when I see a second experimental explosion there off the coast of Florida. Is it another aircraft carrier, guys? Oh, let me guess. They rolled out another ship that they're going to go blow up. Is that what they're doing? Oh, I got an idea. Why don't we put a bunch of sailors on a ship and then put it out in the ocean and do a huge explosion next to it to see if the ship can withstand the explosion? And if it can't, well, looks like the sailors are going to have to jump off the ship. So this happens only when the plate is in major motion. They do an experimental blast off the East Coast and try to blame it on the Navy. Now, really, what's going on here, I think, is that when the plate starts to shift and it looks like the East Coast is going to get creamed, the military or the government or whatever, USGS, gets out there and detonates on the East Coast and creates a cavity or a chasm for the seismic wave to go into, a little wiggle room they create by blowing up the East Coast, basically. That's what it looks like it's happening. Either that or you'd have to think that I can forecast military tests. Like, do you think I can forecast? Am I just getting lucky? How about this? Am I just getting lucky on forecasting the military test? It's getting bizarre. So this is the second one in 2 weeks' time. There's no way they're doing another aircraft carrier test. There's no way. So there we go. I stand by it, guys. They are doing these as a blast to try and misdirect the seismic wave. It's proof that the professionals in the military and all of them know about the seismic wave in the plate, and they do whatever they can to misdirect it, kind of like out here on the West Coast. Over here on the West Coast, deliberately drilling along the San Andreas to direct the seismic wave down across the valley over to Ridgecrest and out over to Texas. I've already showed it 1,000 times. I could show it again right now if you didn't know what I'm talking about. All these earthquakes over here on the San Andreas, of course, we all know about the San Andreas. But why do the earthquakes get down to right down here where this 2.4 is and stop and then pick back up down in the south and southeast part of the valley? Why does it skip right there beyond Parkfield? Why does it jump over into the valley almost every single week? Well, let me show you. I've already showed this a million times, but I'll show it again. The seismic wave is coming down the San Andreas, and it's dropping off earthquakes along the way. And once we get to right here, where our first little earthquakes go off the San Andreas, look what's there. drill points for fracking. Oil and gas drill points here in California, right along the San Andreas, and that's just on this fault that comes over off the San Andreas. Goes down to here, and all of this is drilled all the way down the valley and back up and around in a giant letter J shape. From up here to down here, 1 million drill points. And the earthquakes come down to there and then jump over across it and pick back up over here on the east side. And I'll prove that to you. I'm going to show you the drill points. You don't have to take my word for it. We go up here at the frac wells. We come down to the south. We get down to here. And this is where it picks up in the thousands of wells for oil and gas. You get the picture. I'm just randomly zooming in on these. They look like ants on the ground. And then it goes down this way, and there's more. And we go further to the south, and we go through a place called Missouri Triangle, of all things, even though it's not Missouri. It's California. And we have more oil wells and more oil wells. All right, you get the picture, right? That's where we start. But as we go down the San Andreas, they go right up to it with all of these tens of thousands of drill points. That looks like a quarry, doesn't it? It's not. It's for oil and gas. And then they did the whole mountain range here. All of this is drilled. They look like sand dunes. This is what it looked like before humans got involved. Natural gullies and foothills. And then all of these are scraped out mountaintops where they scrape out a pad, put at least one or two, or in this case, three oil wells on that pad alone. And it just goes on and 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 on. And we go back up to the north where we jumped off the San Andreas. So the earthquakes come down, jump off the San Andreas, go over to the drill points, go down to the south tip of the valley, and go over here to the east side of the valley. And what's on the southeast side of the valley? All of these drill points. This is over, look how many there are. It's insane. So it's a giant letter J shape of drill points. And we go back and look at the earthquakes. What happens? A giant letter J shape goes down across and over to the east. And then this activity actually gets pushed over to the east, over to Texas. Now I have a warning. Oh, hey, hold on. A 4.1 earthquake struck there. Okay, for longtime viewers who were paying attention last night, you know we issued the warning for a 5.0 earthquake to strike right here, south of San Diego in the Gulf of California. This just hit this morning. Libertad, Mexico, La Libertad. This is listed from the 23rd, though. Hold on. Oh, wait. Hold on. This is from the 23rd. I was like, wait, that is the exact dang spot where we're watching. This is old. Okay, here's 2 days. Whew. It's like, wow, that was quick. So last night I issued a warning, and we're going to stand by it now. We're going to save this and get it out to the world so people know. We're watching San Diego south in the Gulf of California for 5.5 plus activity this week. So we still have several days to go. Today is pretty much day 1 of the watch, day 2 of the watch for California. We're watching San Diego into the Gulf of California. We're really just right down at the border. And if we go look at the good old Google Earth down here, we watch from San Diego south into this body of water, Gulf of California. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm trying to get it down to 200 miles. But if I'm wrong and it strikes on land, it'll be a big deal. A 5.5 is enough to actually cause damage and knock things off shelves in California. 5.0 sent news anchors diving under their desks in LA. You remember that? Now, if we look at the zeros and ones, if we add in the zeros and ones, let me just adjust this ever so slightly so we can see the hexagons just a little better. So it doesn't change much, but it fills in the halfway points between our previous earthquakes, like yesterday's 4.3 to 4.6 earthquake up here in Cloverdale. Well, this 4.3 to 4.6 is next to drill points. Did you know they drilled up here next to Cloverdale? Let me show you and prove it to you. So our only significant earthquake of the week so far in Northern California is up here, and look where it is. So there's the earthquake epicenter. There's Geyser Peak Volcano, and all of these are drill points. And in case you didn't know, geothermal drill points, what they're doing here is they're actually injecting water into the ground at the drill points. The pipelines take the steam, and then they bring it to the turbines to turn the turbines to provide power to the area. So the drill points are for steam. But the earthquake is coming in next to the volcano, Geyser Peak Volcano, Clear Lake Volcanic Field, there it is, Mount Canacti, and Geyserville, California. But all that is really along the San Andreas. This is the northwest and southeast facing diagonal line, San Andreas going down through the Napa Valley, and then, or through Napa Valley, and then through Bay Area, Hayward Fault, picking back up down to the south on the San Andreas I already showed you. So back to it one more time, guys. Significant amount of activity coming in on the northwest, and we're going to watch for the south to get hit. We're also going to watch for the east coast to start to move. We're watching between Ohio and New Jersey. Oh, well, Ohio to Delaware, Ohio to New Jersey. Simply put, right here in the middle where the red arrow is, this is the center of where we're watching. To the west is Ohio. To the east is New Jersey and Delaware, and I'm looking right in here. If it hits anywhere from Ohio to New Jersey, that's the earthquake we're looking for, and it could go up to 4.0 or greater in the next several days. So as for the rest of the planet, we're watching for a 7.0 range earthquake to strike down here. This is right in the middle of all these. We're watching there for a new 7 to strike at the Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, South Philippines border region. It could go anywhere from 200 miles north to 200 miles south, with this being the very center of it, our S-shaped plate boundary. Last week's warning for Japan has come to fruition this week, so if I'm running about 5 to 7 days behind, we'd watch for the next 5 to 7 days down here in Indonesia for the same sized earthquake that struck here in Japan. We're not done yet. We're also going to watch Alaska. So Alaska has a new warning I'm going to issue for the central Aleutians, and that could go 6 to 6.5. I don't know if they need a warning for that. It's the Aleutians. It's a 6. Not many people live out there. If it strikes out in the ocean, no one will care. But we're going through it, so let the people in central Aleutian Island chain know it's probably going to be the next step up from where we are now, which is 5.8 at Kamchatka. I would think the next half magnitude up would be where we go there. United States, Northwest. Well, okay, we already got the activity we were looking for last week. 5.9 earthquake struck here, then all this happened. So now we're going to watch for something like a 6 to 6.5 to strike up here, and this time it should be out in the Juan de Fuca fracture zone out there by the axial seamount. I wonder if they'll report it. The professionals don't report earthquakes to the public a lot of times in general. They hide a lot of earthquakes from you guys. They don't want you to know. They don't want to have to answer questions. I get it, but they don't report. So we'll see. Like, for instance, they stopped reporting 5s out here years ago and just stopped. There's been, hundreds of them probably out here in the past few years. They haven't reported one of them. They don't want the public to even know about the 5s that are striking out there. The Pacific Northwest Seismic Network are the most dishonest people that I've ever seen in the world of geophysics or anything else. I am not joking. They're really bad up there. Like, they're morally challenged up in the Pacific Northwest when it comes to reporting earthquakes. But I don't know why the deal is like that. I think it's gatekeeping. I think maybe they try to, they're trying to, keep their job. I get it. Money, right? Corruption. That's why they do it. They're corrupt up there. Overall. Not everybody, but a good majority of the people up there that do geophysics are corrupt individuals. I've determined this by interacting with them and trying to talk to them, and found out that they were corrupt when they falsely accused me of things. Okay, so that being said, how about our moon, guys? How about our moon? Now, listen up. Listen to this, guys. I'm developing a solar system program. Not just the moon and Earth. We're going to have all the planets. And whenever they start doing seismic feeds off the moon and seismic feeds from Mars, if that stuff even really exists, those seismic feeds are going to be on the Exoquake 3D, which is going to show you exoplanetary earthquakes and geophysical data for the other planets. And you'll be able to zoom around in the program with a little rocket ship that goes warp speed from planet to planet. So you can pull your rocket ship, so to speak, up around a planet and look at its earthquakes, for instance, or whatever else data we can get from it. And that's in the works now. Also see alignments if you want to do the alignment thing. I know a lot of people, you guys are into that. I'm not, but if you guys want to do it, it'll be in there. And we'll also then have a button clickable that'll open this up for Earth. And you can see it there. And we're going to make it all free to the public. All of this is going to be released free to the public. I'm not selling one thing, and it's all going to be open source free. So you guys can have your own copy that you can tweak how you want. But that also means I'm not going to be responsible for maintaining the program after I release it, guys. It's going to be, I put it out to the world. You guys can maintain it from there. You'll have your public version that has the moon and the earthquakes and everything. And then I'll be working on my solar system program And that's going to be something I think that will be absolutely phenomenal. Exoquake 3D, exoplanetary quakes and geophysical data for other planets, plus the sun. Oh, that's key too, is that the center of this solar system program is that it's going to have updating real-time solar data and a 3D sun that takes the SDO and SOHO and meshes it together into a real-time spherical sun that you can turn and manipulate too. And then you can you'll be able to click on the, coronal holes and get the information on them. It'll all be real-time interactive with all the solar information on the actual sun and clickable. So we're working on that now. That's going to be a separate program entirely than this. Having the Earth and the Moon is enough for me, I'll tell you what. Isn't that wild? I know, my viewers. And the fact that it auto-rotates the moon when I spark the Earth there, that's just kind of a cool feature. I can now do moon rises and moon sets. Not that I would even need to, but I can sit here and let it go over the terminator of the Earth there, and we can watch the moon slowly go by. Not that we want to, but this does show us the real phase of the moon. So it's really a full moon right now, and the lighting on it's going to reflect that. If it's a half moon, this will be half illuminated. And that to me is cool, because again, on the old earthquake program, it was just a little number down at the bottom of the screen and what looked like maybe like a Nintendo level graphic of the moon in half phase, full phase. And nobody ever knew why we were paying attention. Why were we paying attention to the moon? Well, the distance, when the moon is at its closest, when the moon is at its furthest, we tend to see major seismic activity increases. It's only a couple times a month. And then, to top it all off, the finding from Father Himalaya in 1904 at the 1904 World's Fair about what's in the Moonlight. Father Himalaya built the pyroheliophore. It won a top science prize at the 1904 World's Fair. Let's search that. I might have that even here in a link. Hold on. Father Himalaya pyroheliophore. Let's see if that brings it up. Here we go. Father Himalaya's pyroheliophore. Top science prize at the 1904 World's Fair here. It's a bunch of reflective metal plates. These are not magnifying glasses. It just literally multiplies the sun by 6,100 times. 6,100 versions of the sun reflected down to a single point. Light multiplication instead of light magnification. It works way better. And we reached the hottest temperatures known to man. So 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 4,000 degrees Celsius. And the thing about this thing is that it works at night as a telescope. Even better than an optical lens telescope. And so after the 1904 World's Fair, Father Himalaya here, check him out. Hey, he kind of looks like Stephen Burnt. Father Himalaya focused this thing on stars and was able to get measurable temperatures from Sirius and other stars. So it's like Sirius A and B, was able to focus the starlight and get actual temperature on the thermometer to rise. But he also focused it on the moon. And something they found from the moon was that the light focused from the moon did not, in any circumstance, create any kind of heat. While they were able to focus starlight, they were not able to focus the moonlight to create heat. Instead, they found electricity in it. And when they shined it on their skin after being focused, it created a feeling on their skin with no temperature, an electromagnetic feeling on their skin. Electricity in the moonlight. This is according to Father Himalaya himself, and he won the top prize at the 1904 World's Fair. So he stayed months afterwards doing the experiments at night, using this thing at night to focus the moonlight and shine it on people's faces and bodies. And to measure the electricity, they put a wire through the lens they were focusing it on to get that electricity. So if there's electricity in the moonlight, we get back to here, and the electricity is very low frequency. Ultra low, extremely low, and very low. So human-made electricity, that is. And Mother Nature made electricity. So low frequency would be in the light And the distance also would be affecting the Earth on geophysics for earthquakes. So that's why we pay attention to the amount of light being reflected from the moon and why we pay attention to the distance of the moon to Earth. Earthquake increase. The light thing, I can't prove on that yet. We're going to have to build the sensors to detect the wave in the ground first and then see if a illuminated moon passing over at night increases that charge at all. But this gets way beyond anything I'm capable of doing, guys. But the moon is just so awesome to have in here. I'll tell you what, it looks incredible, and I can have it out of the way. It can just go by at the bottom of the screen like this, and you barely even see it. It goes around the backside, doesn't really bother anybody either. So back to the start of this video. Huge earthquake in Japan. Yes, I issued a warning for it. It was 1 week ago. You guys can go back, or now almost 2 weeks ago. But for a 7-day warning 1 week ago, go back and listen to my YouTube video. People are over on YouTube on my most recent video congratulating me. I mean, I don't mind congratulations, but getting congratulated on a huge earthquake that caused death and disaster, I don't like it. Can you blame me? Oh, good job, Dutch. Well, look, I hope the people in Japan, some of the people got the warning, and they knew to look for it. So when the earthquake hit, they were more like, there's the earthquake, instead of, oh my God, an earthquake. That's why I'm doing this. I want to take away the fear and replace it with vigilance. So if you got the warning in Japan from 2 weeks ago and then the earthquake hit this week, I apologize hugely. I'm trying to get it down to 7 days. If it takes another 7 days beyond what I'm looking for something that only happens once every few years, so be it. But I want to figure out why it took a little bit longer. I'm thinking the deep earthquakes on both sides of Japan. Let's go back to where I showed that to you. The deep earthquakes on both sides of Japan, they were 4s. Hold on, let's get those on the screen here. They were deep 4s, and they're raised like bunny ears off the earth on both sides of the earthquake in Japan. So it may very well be that it took this trigger of a deep earthquake on one side of Japan to the west and a deep earthquake on the other side of Japan down to the southeast on our letter D. We have a letter D there just for deep earthquakes, for forecasting. We expect the deep earthquakes to happen here. So we got 2 deep earthquakes, and then on the middle point, boom, up next to the power lines comes a 6.8 to 7.1 earthquake, devastating South Japan. I can't show you the videos, and I don't want to. Again, you guys can go look it up if you want to see disaster. I'm not here to show you disaster. I'm here to get you prepared so that you can be prepared for the next one. If you want to know how to do forecasting, the step-by-step instructions have already been published for anybody to test and repeat. It's titled How to Forecast an Earthquake by Dutch Sense, which you're welcome to test and to use to do your own earthquake forecasting. So looking at the screen now, let's just give you a quick summary of what we're looking at here on the new earthquake program. Wait, everyone, hold on. I forgot to use one of the new features that's built into this program, which is we need to see what the antipode is for the other side of the planet for Japan. And in order to see that, all I have to do is click Control-A on the earthquake, and it takes me to the opposite side of the planet to show me what's on the opposite side. So our travels underneath point's on the opposite side of the planet. And where does it travel underneath to? If you come out here, you're going to travel underneath right down to here. So South Sandwich Islands, about to get creamed. An antipode earthquake most likely going to strike out here in the middle of nowhere out here north of Antarctica or south of South America in the next few days. Again, one more time, antipode earthquake feature. I can click on any earthquake on the planet, big or small, and press Control-A, and it goes through the planet to the opposite side. I just clicked on that 1.6 up in the northeast United States. Let's press Control-A, see what the antipode is to it. Not that it matters, but it's south of Australia. But it does matter on large earthquakes. Professionals have already disclosed. The Oregon State University, OSU, did a study of 5,000 different 6.0 and greater earthquakes. And they found in a majority of the time, it's something like 3/4 of the time, there is a significant earthquake similar in size on the opposite side of the planet on the antipode. That's according to the professionals. So, but to me, that's a huge deal to have, a huge feature to have here in the earthquake program. Antipodes, we've got the moon We're going to be working in other things that I don't want to give away right now. We got more plans for other things on top of what we already have. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy the program. Once I release it to the public, I think it will benefit humanity. Got tsunami warnings in here if a tsunami hits. Amazing time to be alive. If you would have told me I'd have an earthquake program like this a few years ago, I would have told you, what? I have no programming capability at all. How would I ever do it? Well, this is thanks to, look in the upper left-hand corner, Grok. Grok has scored. I'll give them all the lauded praise that they deserve, plus some. And they didn't ask me to put this little powered by Grok thing in the upper left-hand corner. I chose to do that. I went over to Grok and asked Grok to design a logo for itself and to have it say something like powered by Grok or made by Grok or generated by Grok. And it shows powered by Grok, it shows that color scheme, and it shows that symbol, whatever that is. A neural network of some kind, most likely. But that symbol, it generated. So I told it, this is going to represent you on my live stream. And Grok generated for itself. Powered by Grok, and it is. So the feed on the left, HTML, color-coded by the type of earthquake. You can see M3.39 is green. Well, look on the right-hand side. Earthquake magnitude color key. 3s are green. And on the planet, 3s are green. So the color coding matches across the whole thing. Also, Grok was able to make me a real-time universal clock. Up in the upper right-hand corner, it says 1706, 51, 52, 53. And it's counting based upon the U.S. Naval Atomic Clock. It's synced to that. So we've got the U.S. Naval Atomic Clock giving us a universal time, real time, down to the second, which my old earthquake program did not do at all. Awesome stuff going on here. The moon, the USGS feeds, and the other stuff. Live cam, nothing in there right now. We have the Kilauea live feed for whenever Kilauea erupts. Same for Sakurajima and any of the other volcanoes. We can put those into the live cam section over on the right-hand side. I don't have anything to show you right now. There's no huge eruptions taking place right now that are worth looking at. What else are we also missing? The Volcano Ash Advisory Center will have a little section in here. Wait, Kilauea erupted? Kilauea just erupted. Really? It did? It did another episode? I knew it. I told you guys yesterday, Kilauea, with the 3-point-something earthquake that struck next to it yesterday on the west side of the island. Let's just go make sure. Is it already done? Volcanic ash resuspended in the air. Something happened. Hold on. Yep. Take a look, guys. A big eruption happened in Kilauea today, this morning. Look at the screen right now. This is this morning. A few hours ago. It died out pretty quick. Look at this. So it was going for many hours yesterday. It started to go gangbusters. Oh, man. Okay, so this is like, I have to take you back. This would take another 10 minutes to explain why I'm even, mind blown at this. But yesterday, I got on to my live stream. I did not record this. And we talked about this 3.6 earthquake off the northwest coast of Hawaii. And I said, well, looks like there's going to be another episode getting ready to happen. This is me last night. And then boom, there it goes. So anytime we see seismic coming in from the northwest side of the island, I'm telling you right now, we need to pay attention to the volcanic response as the seismic wave comes in from the northwest part of Hawaii. It's now indisputable that that's what's going on there. I'm able to forecast the Hawaii episodes a day or two ahead of time before any sulfur dioxide or tilt meters or anything. And I'm not bragging. I'm saying anybody can do this. You can look at the seismic that's coming in from the northwest side of the Big Island, and if it starts to pick up in magnitude, that lets you know something's coming in. And that something comes in and goes down to the magma chambers and then causes an eruption. That's what's going on. It's crazy. All right, back to it. Much love. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you like the content, of course, come back. Please, guys, share the information. Let everybody know. I warned Japan last week. They had a 1-week warning for this. Actually, beyond that, a few days beyond 1 week. 7 days beyond a week, 2 weeks. They had a warning for this, and the warning was for a 6.9. And the spot was from Taiwan to Kyushu. What are we going to watch for going forward? I will get a new forecast out for the rest of the planet once my current forecast expires. We're watching for a 7 down in Indonesia right now and a 5.5 south of California. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's going to be much more than that we need to get warnings out on for this coming week. All right, we're going to save this, get this out over on YouTube. I hope you enjoy the new features of the moon and everything. It looks really cool. Eye candy, if you want to call it that. It's the candy for your eyes. Looks absolutely incredible. And as long as it doesn't get in the way, I mean, again, it should just go by at the bottom of the screen here. And we can see the phase of the moon. It's the future, guys. This old man here was playing Unreal Tournament and Doom and wishing for graphics like this back in the day. Now I've got it on the Earthquake program. The only thing missing is ray tracing. We're going to be building in ray tracing and controller support for PlayStation and Xbox controllers to control the Earth next. So you guys, when you get a copy, if you have a PlayStation controller that you can plug into your computer or whatever, you can control the Earth using that. I don't know why you'd want to do that. I use a mouse, but some people are real picky about that stuff. It's more like a video game now than it is like a geophysics program. It's that cool. Yeah, the moon scene is more like Skyrim, isn't it, guys? Right? Okay, somebody's ears just perked up. Skyrim? Huh? Geeking out, guys. Much love. Peace out.